All right. All right. It's so great to have you. I'm delighted that you decided to take some time out tonight and to join us. It's so important for you to understand your presence makes all the difference in this class. I mean, I'm the one that has the camera on me, but that doesn't mean anything. We're creating a group heart, and though I think I speak to this almost every week, I have to say it again because I think it's so important. I think we're discovering something during this COVID-19 when we're all sequestered in our homes and we're separated from one another, at least physically. And we have the opportunity to discover that we're not separated at the heart, at the soul, not separated at all. So this is one of I hope, the great lessons we're going to learn is that we are connected all the time. I mean, we were connected at the heart and the soul before, but the mind was able to say yes, but it was because the bodies were in close proximity. That's why, because the mind identifies us as body. So our bodies aren't together here. There is 30 of us here tonight, and our bodies are in separate locations. And that doesn't matter at all to the heart and soul. We saw this picture last week of the Hawaiian Islands, and just under the Hawaiian Islands that look above the waterline like they're separate, we see them to be one and the same thing. Like fingers seem separate until you go up a little higher, and they're all part of the same hand. So there is a connection here. There is a connectedness here that's really, really important for us to understand and for us to experience. So I'm really delighted that you're here. Your presence here is important. It makes a difference. And without you, it wouldn't be exactly the same. So your presence, your consciousness, your intention, your concentration, these are all really great gifts that we're giving to one another during this time when human consciousness is trying to adapt and shift and grow in response to the limitations and the quite alarming circumstances that we're experiencing around the world. Oftentimes it takes something as extreme as this for human consciousness to make any kind of shift at all. So I'd like to do a little meditating with you. And to start the meditation, I'd like to do the soul mantra. If there's anybody here that's new tonight, we use the soul mantra as an invocation. The name of this class series is Soul-Centered Solutions, by which I hope to convey that a shift from ego-centered living to soul-centered living is invited and, from my perspective, required for us as human beings to live in a sustainable way on the planet with one another and with the natural world. A shift in consciousness. It's a shift in the center from which we operate, rather than ego, more from soul. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the ego, what it is, how it functions, and this class series is all about facilitating that shift to soul-centered living. So this mantra is quite lovely. It's been around about 100 years. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. So this is an affirmation and an invocation. This is a practice. Saying this mantra is a practice of attuning the personality self to the soul. And again, the personality self is made up of the physical body and the emotional body and the mental body, the lower mental body. So these three things that we have come to identify as ourselves, we learn to attune those, align these three aspects of ourselves to the soul in such a way that in the long run, we make a shift in our identification from the personality to the soul. So I'd like to read it and then have you repeat it after me, if you'd be so kind. And we'll take a little time. I want you, as you're practicing this on your own, you'll say a line and then hang out with it and notice the effects. Like any kind of spiritual practice, we want to be very, very aware of the impact of the practice on our consciousness. Okay, so I'm going to say a line and then you repeat it, and then we'll sit in silence for a moment. Okay, I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. And again, if you're new, that last line, I am fixed design, simply means I have a divinely designed function and purpose. I'm here for a reason. Let's do it again. I am the soul. And when you say I am the soul, allow yourself to feel a sense of identification with awake awareness. I am the soul, and feel yourself to be vividly awake and aware. I am the light divine. And when you say that, feel as though somebody has turned on a switch and your body is both filled with and surrounded by brilliant light. I am the light divine. I am will. I'm sorry. I am love is the next line. I am love. And when you say that, I am love, center your attention in the heart center. Let it feel lit up with the energy of divine love. And then I am will. And when you say that, locate your attention, hold your attention in your navel center, your hara, just below the navel and in the body a bit. Your power center. I am will. I am a God-aligned will. This will and divine will is perfectly in alignment. I am will. I am fixed design. And when you say that, bring your attention up into the head center. Concentrate on a sense of being on purpose, passionately on purpose, coming into a deep, passionate sense of your purpose here on the planet at this time in human history. That you have a part to play. All right, we'll do it one more time without my commentary. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. And so all this is saying that you are so much more than your mind's story of you. And we take time to pause in our busy, harried life and to look within in order to discover who and what we actually are. To establish this as a regular routine, as a regular practice of stopping, of turning within, of getting quiet, of opening your heart to higher consciousness. Asking or praying for grace and for guidance. And then learning to get still. You make your request for guidance, understanding that when you make that request, guidance is now flowing. There's a profound grace pouring itself out onto the planet right now. It's important for us to open ourselves to it. Now, you may hear in your mind messages or voices that sound like, but I don't really deserve that, or I don't really believe in that, or who am I? I'm just, nobody important. Any kind of resistance that the ego would put forth to this practice, just see it as that. See it as resistance. Redouble your determination to discover the mystery, the inner presence, the inner light. Now, this looking within takes a little practice. The mind is very used to being stimulated from without. It's rare that we give the mind, more than about 10 seconds of quiet before we're off to something else. The mind loves to be stimulated, is, perhaps we could say, addicted to being stimulated. So when we turn within, it requires an intention, a rather strong intention, and a perseverance to patiently and compassionately work with the mind that wants to constantly pull us back into the outer world. So we work with the personality. Remember, the personality is made up of the physical body, the emotional body, and the mental body. So we work with the personality in order to attune it and align it with the soul. So at the physical level, let yourself relax a little more, unclench a little more, sit up nice and straight, so energy can move up and down the central channel. The chakras can be working optimally. Learning to soften and relax the body is so very important. Relaxing the body sends a message to the mind. Everything is okay. All right, then attend to your emotional body, which is just to say, pay attention to what you're feeling. Now, the emotional body has layers to it. And the surface layer typically is related to what's happening in the present moment. And in this present moment, things are like right here and now with us, things are quiet. And so there might not be a lot of emotion there. But we go some layers down, and you might feel that there is some anxiety or some trepidation of some kind, some feeling unease, dis-ease. Now, I don't mean to be putting anything in your emotional body, so just notice what's there, but be willing to kind of feel down into the layers. We get to a place in the emotional body that isn't so much related to the personality, it's more related to our connection to collective or consensus consciousness. So you may feel that there's anxiety and fear and sadness that may not be related to your own personal outer world right now, and yet it's in your system because it's coming from the world around us. Tremendous upheaval and fear and upset and anxiety about the future and sadness about numerous kinds of losses that we're experiencing. So just relax the emotional body, just like you did the physical body. Relax and breathe. Nothing to fix, nothing to figure out. Just let things be as they are in this moment. And then the mental body, of course, these are the thoughts, the stories, the interpretations, the commentary, the projections constantly being generated by the mind. And just let them be as well. Don't make the mind bad for being restless or antsy. Now, here's a statement I want you to contemplate. All suffering is due to a felt sense of disconnection or separation from the soul and from spirit. All suffering on any level is due to the felt sense of separation from soul and from spirit. So we begin to resolve this felt sense. Again, it's a felt sense of separation because there isn't any actual separation. We begin to resolve this felt sense of separation by connecting our loving awareness to these various aspects of our personality, observing your experience with an awareness that is kind and accepting and compassionate. And that means you have to kind of step back behind your experience rather than identifying with it. You are not your drama. So it's as though you kind of step back behind your experience and now observe it from and as awareness. And be aware that what's watching is infinitely kind. See if you can feel that what's watching, physical sensation and emotional energy and mental activity, what's watching is infinitely kind and accepting of what it sees. Now, let's make a shift so that we move more deeply into the heart center. At the surface may be all kinds of emotional energies, but we go back, go more deeply in. And the metaphor is it's like dropping below the surface of the ocean where there's lots of waves and it's all tumultuous and ever shifting and moving. We drop 100 feet down into this profound stillness. Keep moving back more deeply into the heart center, back toward the back of your body. When you come to the back of your heart center, step back behind it into the space behind the heart. Into the luminous space behind the heart. Now, this is stepping out of individual consciousness and into soul consciousness. That's what we mean by the space behind the heart. It's a step into great tranquility and spaciousness. There's a great silence and stillness here, a deep and pervasive peace. And if you can, just let go of anything happening in the mind or in the emotions, and just rest back into this space behind the heart, into this infinite, open, boundaryless, tranquil space behind the heart. See if you can feel that there is infinite intelligence here, infinite love here. A sense of presence, not as a separate entity so much as a field of pure consciousness. ever and always lovingly present and engaged in the drama of the personality, usually from behind the scenes, from behind one's conscious awareness. But now we step back into the behind, the space behind the heart. For a moment, see if you can just allow the sense of a body to dissolve away, to become the subatomic particles that it actually is. Let your name fall away, and your form, and your roles, and your agenda. Let these things fall away, just temporarily. They'll be there for you to return to. Rest in the spaciousness. This is your spiritual heart, the vast open heart space. The vast open heart space that is your soul. The magnificence of your true being. And to the extent that you can, just let yourself feel absorbed into this vast open heart space. Like a teacup full of red dye dissipates and is absorbed by a swimming pool. Let the sense of a separate self dissolve and dissipate into this vast open heart space that is your soul. Now, I want you to try something, just an experiment here, allowing yourself to just be absorbed best you can into this soul space, this soul consciousness. I want you to, from and as that space, feel out and feel your connection to the other people that are in this meditation. Now, if you're watching this later on YouTube, that's totally fine. You can do the same thing. You will join us. Just feel out, feel and connect with the others that are in this meditation. Not as something separate from you, but as an addition to you, as another aspect of you. And that at this soul level, there's always a familiarity, always a sense of connection and love from soul to soul. And see if there's any sense of joy in this connecting. If you wish, you can feel out beyond the group to those that you love. Feel your soul connection to them. Again, not as something separate from you. Discovering that we're all made of the same stuff. We all come from the same source and are of the same essence. And you can play with this and just feel out in any direction. Feel out in any direction, and what you find is an extension of yourself. And since that's true, and the soul knows that it's true, to the soul, it matters what's happening at the personality level. The quality of another's life matters to the soul, even if that life is living itself out halfway across the globe. To the soul, there is no separation. See if you can feel that in the soul, there is a reason to be here operating in this personality at this time in Earth's history. And part of that reason is to transcend our tenacious belief in separation and to feel our deep soul connection and to use our resources for the common good, for the good of all beings, not just for this personality. Now, begin to focus your attention back towards and into the personality again, as though the soul is docked, so to speak, connected right there at the space between the shoulder blades. As though the soul were active, that's the point of access that the soul enters in and operates in and through the personality, is the space behind the heart. Now visualize the soul coming into the heart center as light, as brilliant light. A light that is conscious, living, infinitely intelligent, incomprehensibly loving. The soul comes in from the back into the chest as the energy of equanimity and tranquility and compassion for everything that it touches. It may touch pain that the body-mind is experiencing, physical, emotional, mental pain and suffering. And as it touches that suffering, it transmutes it. It brings light to our darkness and peace to our drama and chaos. Feel the light pour in through the back and begin to fill the body. Filling the chest, the solar plexus, the abdomen, up into the head. If you can, stay more identified as the light pouring in than the body-mind it's pouring into. It may help to remind you to say, I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. And the light continues to pour in, completely filling the body so that every cell is vibrating with light, with conscious light. And it continues to pour out beyond the body into the energy field, into the aura. Bringing with it a sense of confidence and competence. The soul knows what it's doing and what it wants to do through this personality. The soul knows the part that this personality is going to play in the evolution of human consciousness, in literally the salvation of the planet. And so it fills this personality, the physical, emotional, mental bodies, and out into the greater subtle bodies. Extending up overhead, and then also feel how the light pours down through the root chakra and penetrates deeply into the center of the earth, all the way down to the heart of Mother Earth. This cord of light grounds you onto the planet. And establishes you as a bridge between heaven and earth, between spirit and matter. You will live as that bridge to the extent that you learn to live from and as your soul. Just feel the body-mind now, filled with and surrounded by brilliant, scintillating light. Feel its subtle vibration. Identify with it. I am the light divine. This is, remember how this feels. This is what I want you to feel every time in saying the soul mantra. Every time you say, I am the light divine, I want you to flash on this. Let this in that instant become your reality, filled with and surrounded by the light of the soul. And one last thing we'll do before we end the meditation, and that is that we will allow the light of the soul to extend through the personality, especially through the heart center of the personality, to whoever we're connected with. let the soul bring to your mind people that need a flow of this truth and love, this grace and light and love. Just whoever comes to your mind, understand that a connection has opened up between the two of you, and through that connection, allow this light to flow. Now, I like to put my hands up at chest level with the palms pointing outwards. So now the energy of light is pouring through the chest and it's pouring out the palm chakras. And it's flowing to whoever the soul brings to mind. Loved one or stranger, it makes no difference. People you like, people you don't really like, it makes no difference. You offer them the inexhaustible light of your soul, the inexhaustible light of love. And it just flows through you. It's no effort on the personality's part. And perhaps you have the impression of just allowing it to flow into your neighborhood, into your community, into your town, to be of great benefit to all who receive it, to all who live there. And maybe that's as far as you want to extend. Maybe some of you feel like you want to pour it out on a larger scale. Let the light flow out. Fill up the nation, the continent, to every one of the 7 billion people that are on the planet, most of whom are anxious and sad, and most of whom have no access to the understanding and the practice and the experience that we're having, that they are actually the soul. So we send the light of the soul to them. In the hopes that the light that we're sending to them can stimulate the light that is deep in their hearts. We send the light to the natural world, all the beings that inhabit the planet. Are extensions and expressions of the one self that we are. And if there's anything in you that feels like it's resisting this, holding back, clenching, let the light flow to that. Let it flow to that resistance. Now, just for one more moment, you can rest the hands down. Center yourself in your heart, filled with and surrounded by light. Just feel what it's like to be in touch with the nature of your soul, to be a channel of divine love and grace. And check in with yourself and see if it's true. Isn't this why you're here? among other things, isn't this why you're here on the planet at this time? To be such a channel, to receive divine truth and love, and to extend it to others. Isn't this really, at a very deep level, in addition to the other things that there may be, isn't this really why you're here? And it may feel to the personality that each of us by ourselves are woefully inadequate to make the slightest bit of difference in the world. But then remember how it felt when we're united at the level of our soul. There is no feeling of impotence there. There is no limit there. The level of our soul, as we come together at that level, there is nothing, there is no problem on earth that cannot be solved when and as we do it together. All right, take a nice deep breath. Feel how the body is feeling. Perhaps you might be feeling a little tingly, a very subtle buzz of energy. Every time you do this practice, it will amp your energy level up, your consciousness level up. Feel how the body is supported by the chair that you're sitting on. Refer again to that cord of light dropping down out of the root chakra into the earth. And when you're ready, open the eyes. What a blessing and a privilege to share this with you, this great heart space with you. Just let the breath move. So I'd like to say a few things tonight in relationship to our experience. I have no illusion that everyone here tonight has felt, blissed out by this. I understand we're all at different places in our practices, and perhaps some of you are rather new in the process of meditating, and this was a rather long meditation. We meditated for about 40 minutes. So some of you, please don't feel discouraged if the experience you had was not that of bliss and light, but maybe the experience you're having was one of resistance. Maybe it was frustrating. You wanted more, or maybe the direction that I was giving you felt strange and unfamiliar and perhaps even unsafe. That's totally fine. You had exactly the experience that you were supposed to have. I want to share with you tonight that there is a purification that takes place when we invest ourselves in this soul alignment. There are things that have to be released, things that have to be felt through and released, unfinished business, karmic patterns, thought patterns that are rooted in untruth, emotional patterns that are rooted in non-love. And this untruth and non-love keeps us from fully experiencing and embracing and also kind of like merging into soul consciousness. It just simply inhibits it, prohibits it, limits it. So we have to be aware of this, and we have to be willing to work with the material that comes up in us as we seek soul alignment. We do a meditation such as this. We drop into the space behind the heart. There's this light and this power and so forth. And all of that, which is just this amazing grace being poured into us, will circulate through our entire system, including our karmic storehouse, and drag things up and out that run contrary, that are not resonant with the soul. So I'd like to share with you a little picture and just comment on this for a moment. I'd like to talk for just a moment about what the ego is, because we're shifting from ego-centered living to soul-centered living. I believe this deeply, that is the progression of evolution that's taking place for humanity. I realize it isn't something that's going to happen immediately, by next Thursday. But this is what we're working towards, and this is what I invite you to join me in practicing towards. So we have to understand that the ego is not going to be too excited about this, largely. And I want to show you why. Let me show you a little slide that I created to try to illustrate this. All right, so I showed this to my wife, and she said it was scary, mostly because of the freaky mask at the top. So the top three things, the mask and that middle picture and the cellar, this represents our ego. And it sits, as you can see, on top of or in front of the heart, the soul-filled heart. So let's look at these individual aspects of the ego. The ego wears a mask, which is represented by this top picture. The mask is meant to be a presentation. The ego tries to present to the world the way it thinks it needs to in order to get certain things back. It wants to feel special. It wants to be liked. It wants to be valued. It wants to think of it. It wants to be a part of the tribe. It wants to be an important member of the tribe. So then the ego will wear this mask in hopes that this is what people will think of us. Now, the mask can look really quite lovely. People like myself who grew up to be overachievers wear the overachieving mask. But there's many, many, many other masks, including the mask of the loser. Somebody can wear that mask because in some way that fits for their system. So the mask simply represents who the ego wants others to think I am. And usually, largely, that's a cover for the next layer down. That picture of the balloon with a hat on it and a suit of clothes represents the story that the ego actually holds about itself. It's rooted in that cellar where there is deeper, darker energies like shame and fear. So the story that the mind holds of us is typically not a terribly healthy story, not until we've done quite a bit of work. It's usually rooted in shame and guilt and fear. That's the kind of the trifecta of story and emotion that largely makes up how the ego thinks of itself. The cellar represents where we repress everything that we don't want to deal with. The cellar represents where we've pushed uncomfortable emotional energies and things that we've done to others and things others have done to us, painful things, things we don't know how to deal with. We've pushed them down into the cellar where we just hope that they go away. But you can see that all of that sits on top of or in front of the soul-filled heart. And so as we do practices and say mantras and so forth that are designed to stimulate the heart to open and the soul to come forth into the life, as that happens, everything in the cellar gets pushed to the surface. And this story that was never true to begin with gets kind of pushed up into our awareness. And the mask begins to develop some cracks. Our well-oiled, kind of inauthentic life, just to try to be somebody special, begins to not work anymore. So if there's anything going on in your life where you feel like things are kind of falling apart, or that you're in a midlife crisis or any of that kind of stuff, I invite you to look at that with some gratitude and rejoicing. That means that this whole egoic structure is beginning to fall apart. And that will feel incredibly anxiety-provoking, alarming. We can even feel kind of panic around it, unless and until we realize that it's part of the process of the soul coming forward. The soul pushes ahead of itself, pushes up and out everything that blocks its expression in the personality. I'm going to say that again. As the soul comes forward, it pushes up and out everything that blocks and inhibits its expression in the personality. So this not only happens on an individual kind of level, it happens on a collective level as well. And it's one of the things that I believe strongly is happening on the planet right now. So you're a microcosm of the macrocosm. And at the macrocosmic level, at the level of the collective human consciousness, this same thing is happening. In order for the soul to come forth, the human soul to come forth, it has to push to the surface everything that is not resonant with it. So the soul that knows everything to be unified in one has to push to the surface everything that perpetuates a sense of separation. The soul that is the energy of love as it comes forward has to push up and out everything that is fear-based and resonates with fear and is an expression of fear. All chaos has to be pushed to the surface so that peace and harmony can be known and expressed and manifest. So this very difficult time that we're going through is absolutely purposeful. And I don't mean in any way to minimize the terror of it or the pain of it or the grief of it or the complete upsetting the apple cart of it. Yes. Because unfortunately, we as human beings, we seem to still need to have our apple cart completely overturned in order for us to ask, how can I do this differently? And it's time, I'm sure you can see, it's time as a people that live on the planet for us to say, we've got to do this differently. We've got to do how we live on the planet differently. How we relate to each other, how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to the natural world. We've got to do this differently. The soul has the answer for us. We have to learn to look within and collaborate in this kind of letting go process, this kind of, as this stuff emerges, our anxieties and our guilt and our shame and our anger and our resentments and our bitterness and all these energies that run so contrary to our true nature, they have to be purified. They have to be ventilated. And perhaps in the coming weeks, we'll talk a little bit more about how to do that. I have a mantra for you. I think I'll wait till next week to give it to you, that is specifically designed to work skillfully and powerfully with all of this material as it comes to the surface. But I'm recognizing that I'm running out of time tonight, so I think I will wait and give you that mantra next week. All right, so man, a lot has happened in the last hour. I want to just save some minutes here for any questions that you might have about anything that we've talked about, anything that we've done, the mechanics of the meditation, any questions that you might have about that practice or what we've talked about here in terms of purification. Is there anyone that wants to ask a question? So maybe what I will do, since not a lot of you is responding, I see Deanna's responding, maybe what I will do is give you the mantra. So let's do that, since we've talked about this and you have a feel for this stuff coming up. Some of you felt it during the meditation. What I'd like to do is give you the mantra and tell you just a little bit about how to use it. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to take this picture off. I wonder if I can just go back. Now, those of you that have been in my classes before will recognize this mantra. This is the VAJRA Sattva mantra. Om VAJRA Sattva Hung. This is a profoundly purifying energy frequency. Om VAJRA Sattva Hung. So we say this as we're holding our awareness of anything that we're struggling with, anything that doesn't feel like love and joy and peace and harmony, anything that does not feel like that in our system, we hold that in our awareness and use the mantra to help clear it. We hold, let's just say I have anxiety, lots of it, and it's, or we could use maybe anger and resentment towards someone. And I recognize that it's holding me back from feeling a greater alignment with soul and a greater connection with others, a greater open-heartedness. So we set the intention to let the anger go, to let the resentment go. We set the intention to have it purified entirely from our system. And then we ask that this mantra be in the service of that intention, that it purify us of everything that runs contrary to the energy of the soul and our process of aligning, connecting with and aligning to the soul. And then you take some time to say the mantra, Om VAJRA Sattva Hung, 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 Om VAJRA Sattva Hung. Classically, you would use a mala. Mala has 108 beads, and you'd say it 108 times. And with a short mantra like Om VAJRA Sattva Hung, it takes you a minute and a half. Om VAJRA Sattva Hung, Om VAJRA Sattva Hung, Om VAJRA Sattva Hung, Om VAJRA Sattva Hung, Om VAJRA Sattva Hung. And as you continue to work with the mantra, you're going to begin to feel a subtle seeping in of an energy that is quickening and purifying and will help your mind to settle and help your heart to relax and open. And it will be purifying of these energies that are being brought to the surface to be released. It's very powerful. I found this mantra to be exceptionally powerful in the purification process. What I invite you to do is use this mantra in this coming week. Those of you that are interested in this, use the mantra. Pay attention to what seems to be being brought up to the surface to be released. And rather than going, oh, what's wrong with me that I'm feeling like this? Instead, it's like, oh, thank you that this energy is coming to the surface so that I can let it go. set your intentions, pray for grace and guidance to do this, pray for help from all the helpers that are around you, and then work with this mantra, Om Vajra Sattva Hung, Om Vajra Sattva Hung, Om Vajra Sattva Hung, Om Vajra Sattva Hung. If you're interested in this, I would invite you to do no less than 2 malas a day. Now that's all of 3 minutes, right? So it's not a big commitment, but get up in the morning and do it. Before you go to bed, do it. And then during the day, you might do another mala, working specifically with some of the energies that are up for you. Yeah. So let me know if you have any questions about that. And now let me read what was written. To feel connected to the rest of the world, I felt I had to go through my mind and personality and couldn't really sense it through my soul, heart. Right. And that'll shift. That'll change. So for so many of us, the soul is revealing itself in a brand new way right now. And so through practice and kind of patience and perseverance, we begin to get the feel for soul. The soul begins to reveal itself to us, to mind. And that attunement, as it deepens and the soul continues to develop the connection between itself and the personality, these kind of qualities and the experiences that you can have through soul consciousness will be more readily available. But for right now, any connection that you feel through the personality, just intend for the energy of the soul, the energy of love and grace to be of great benefit to those people that you reach out to. Is there any meaning and translation for the mantra? Well, so mantras are not really, I mean, you know this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mantras are not really words that convey meaning. Like the words I'm using right now is meant to convey a meaning, convey information. Mantras are not like that. Mantras are sound vibrations. Like you can strike a tuning fork and hold it up to you and feel the vibration of it in the body. This mantra is a certain frequency that gets struck every time you say it, and its frequency has an impact on your consciousness. So it doesn't really matter that the mind is going, I don't know what those words mean. I mean, we can break it down. Om is the primordial sound of the universe, and Vajra Sattva is one of the great bodhisattvas whose entire purpose for existence is to help all beings become liberated and so forth. We can do those kinds of things, but that's not where the power of the mantra is. The power of the mantra is that it is a brilliant tuning fork that every time you say it gets struck and its vibration resonates through your consciousness and purifies you in that practice. So I would encourage you at this point not to worry about interpretation and go more into practice so that you discover the power of the mantra in your experience and in your consciousness. Okay, so I'm going to say that will be the end of tonight, and we're going to go into our Gayatri Mantra recitation. So for some of you that are here for the first time, we say the Gayatri Mantra at the end of every class. And it's a little longer. It's longer than this. It takes a little longer to say. Gayatri Mantra usually takes between 15 and 20 minutes to say. And so I invite those of you that would like to experience the full blessing of the Gayatri Mantra to stay on and to say it with me. And for those of you that are not feeling so inclined, you might stay on for 5 minutes and get to know the mantra and feel how it feels. And then please feel free to log out at any point. If you're feeling resistant or you're going, oh, I wish this would end and so forth, you don't have to torture yourself with the recitation of the mantra. On the other hand, I invite you to open to its power. The Gayatri Mantra calls down the highest divine light, penetrates down into our being. I'll set this intention in a moment. It is one of the most powerful mantras. It's said to be one of the mother, like the mother of all mantras. So it's a very powerful experience. So in order to do this, you would just allow yourself, you would give yourself the profound gift of 20 minutes of saying this mantra out loud and silently. We'll do it silently as well. Let me go ahead and go to the mantra so that you can see it as I talk about it. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. So we're going to do this. We'll start out kind of slow. We'll build up to where at the end we'll be saying it rather rapidly. And we'll alternate saying it out loud and saying it quietly. So I'd like to set an intention before we begin the mantra. On behalf of all of us, I'm setting the intention of saying the Gayatri Mantra to call down the highest divine light into every aspect of our being across all lifetimes and incarnations, across all levels of our existence, all levels of our consciousness, all chakras and chakric levels, clear down to the center of the earth. Setting the intention for the Gayatri Mantra to call forth this light and to bring it down into the deepest aspects of our being, the aspects of our being that need to be healed, that need to be seen, that need to be purified, our wounded aspects, our aspects of shame and fear and guilt, feelings of abandonment, and everything that perpetuates a sense of separation. That the light of divine love and wisdom and power and grace would penetrate down into the deepest levels of our beings and purify and transform and enlighten. We say this not only for ourselves, but we say it for everyone that we're connected with, that the benefit of the mantra and intention will be shared by all the people that we're connected to. And we say this mantra not only for ourselves and for those that we are connected to, but for all beings on the planet, for the planet itself, for the consciousness of the planet and all the aspects of consciousness that make up planetary consciousness. We say this mantra to be of great benefit to that. All right. So that intention is set. So again, we're going to alternate between saying it out loud and saying it silently. And especially when you're saying it silently, see if you can really open to the inflow of light. That's not a metaphor, the inflow of light. It actually is happening as we say the mantra. We're opening ourselves to this download, this inflow of great divine light. All right. So I'm going to turn off my little screen here and ask you to join me now as we say the Gayatri Mantra 108 times. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tatsavitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. All right, now silently, just quietly go your own pace. Really open to a felt sense of light pouring in. Okay, now again out loud together. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Now again silently, concentrating on the inflow of divine light. Concentrate best you can on enunciating the words and feeling the divine light. Out loud again, we're about halfway through. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. And let's go to silent mode again, feeling the light coming in and also feeling your connection to everyone else in the group now saying this, as though you're saying it for them and they're saying it for you. And there's this light developing in this group energy. And now again, out loud together. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varinyam. Bhargodevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Now let's pause for a moment. I want you to see if you can flash on remembering how it was to be in the space behind the heart. In that vast open heart space. The peace and tranquility and spaciousness. The light and the love. The stillness. Now, I want you to go on saying the Gayatri Mantra quietly, as though you were saying it from that space, from that soul consciousness. And feel your connection to the others as you're saying it. Continue now, please. And now we'll do the last 5 together out loud. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Bu Bhuvaha Swaha. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam. Bhargorevasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now, if you feel so inclined, I invite you, as we bring the broadcast to a close, I invite you to stay in the energy of this. Feel how the mantra expands consciousness. Rest in that expansion. Fear contracts consciousness. Love, truth, light, grace expands consciousness. I want to learn to stay in that space. Referring back to it again and again until one day it becomes our identity. Until then, I invite you to come back, tune in next week, same time. I'm so grateful for your participation, for your coming. I look forward to seeing you next week. Namaste.